Right, Stephanie, let's have a look. There's a couple of papers here, the Times and the Sun, both focusing on Prince Harry.
Yeah, he's been working the interview circuit because he's currently in Canada, looking ahead to the Invictus Games next year. So he's done an interview, and, you know, Prince Harry's like a journalist's dream because he's always going to give a bit of golden nuggets. And in an interview that he's done, he did say that he was considering becoming a US citizen. He said it's not high on his priority list, but as you can imagine, the papers are having a field day with this today. I doubt very much he would become an American citizen, especially as this week he's just launched Sussex.com, where he's using his royal titles. So if he was to become an American citizen, he, of course, will not be allowed to use those royal titles.
I can't imagine Meghan would want it.
No, it doesn't work for them financially. And I think, you know, there's contradictions in the papers today, because then in the Times we also have where he's saying that he would like to step in a temporary role for his father while his father is sick, because Harry is still a councillor of the States. So, you know, even though I doubt he will be called, he still does have that role. So I think he is seeming to want to hand an olive branch to the royals and make amends. You know, he did catch that flight to see his father only for about half an hour, 45 minutes, but he seems quite proud of himself for that and quite happy that they had that moment. But
I mean, it's interesting, Madeline, that people pick up on the negative, not surprisingly, with Harry at the moment. But, you know, he did talk about reconciliation, about illnesses bringing families closer together.
Yeah, I mean, that's often the way of things. In many families, that's the case, that a serious illness can bring a family together. However, it was unfortunate, I think, that he gave that interview to the press. This is part of the problem that led to the breakdown in relations, was the fact that the royal family felt that, you know, Harry couldn't be invited to things, and, you know, that for them to share information with him without it immediately leaking out. And now I think what Stephanie said about him as the journalist golden nugget, I mean, it's a very good point. He just can't seem to help himself when it comes to speaking to the press before anybody else.
I think one of the telling lines from this, though, Stephanie, was the fact he was talking about the joy his children gave him.
Yes.
How lovely it was to be a dad, which was lovely, and, you know, Archie and Lilibet, and sort of like how they made him laugh and made him smile, and how it was great to be a dad, which makes it even sadder that both Meghan and Harry are estranged, really, from their own dad.
Well, I think now is where they're really going to have to mend this now, because I think it's almost like reach the full saturation of this whole royal drama. And now that King Charles has been diagnosed with cancer and Kate is recovering from her surgery, those are the big things that matter now, not whatever's happened in the past. And I think for the royals themselves now, they're going to want to have to move forward. And there's going to have to be a new chapter, because you can't keep on feeding this toxicity of Harry and Meghan against the royal family, even though they could be blamed for some of the falling out of this. But we have to move on.
Yeah. It feels like that will require perhaps a bit more in the way of an olive branch from William specifically. You know, it's well known that the king is desperate to reconcile and to have his family back. I mean, you know, he, especially having to confront your own mortality, as anyone with the cancer diagnosis does, you reevaluate things. But William has been very steadfast in not wanting much to do with his brother. So that will require some, I don't know, the Waleses will perhaps have to find some kind of compromise.
Maybe.